10 seconds.
Because I help it out the fire.
It's got a little firefighter badge,
It
little
did 5.
sticker badge.
Why is
on
it
it.
so late today?
3, 2, 1. Roll the open.
Hello and welcome to Weekend Doubles coverage of the Black Eyed Susan. I'm Gerald. That's Nick. How you doing, Nick?
Oh, it's Friday and we're talking racing. How could it possibly be bad?
Did you get all rested up from the Derby?
As rest as I'm gonna be, anyways. It's a quick turnaround for us too. I don't feel so bad for journalism. But I have to keep firing. He has to keep firing.
Well, I'm still sulking over the fact that it was two of the favorites. That just killed me. But I'll take it. Could have been worse. Well, I don't know. Maybe it couldn't have been worse, to be honest with you. But yeah, this isn't a race. I think we agree that we really are following, but we wanted to do it because it is the Friday before the Preakness, and it's a field of 9. I think we both feel like there's some good betting opportunities here.
Yeah, it's a pretty wide open field, and they don't turn the fillies around as quick in the 2 week turnaround. So none of these ran in the Kentucky Oaks. It feels a little bit like also rans with a couple that have just ran won some allowance races now coming back here. I know Princess Aaliyah ran on Oaks Day, so at least she's got that going for her and finished well beaten 10th. But if you throw that one out, the rest of them kind of been coming off a rest. So an interesting race, at least. It's worth betting, I think.
Okay, well, it's a mile and eighth on the dirt here at Pimlico. Field of 9. There are no runners from the Kentucky Oaks. I'll go over the field real quick. The 1 is Liam in the Dust. Johnny V rides. This one was second last time out in the Muddy Allowance race at Keeneland. Uh, was second to Paris Lilly, who was also in this race. Only 1 win in 3 tries. Should be close to the lead. The 2 is Princess Aaliyah with Nick Juarez aboard for D. Wayne Lucas. 10th last time in the 8 Bells. Before that, a winner in the Valley of the Vapors to Oaklawn Park. Should be mid-pack early, and I do like this one. So we'll come back to this one in a minute. The 3 is Margie's Intentions. Margie's Intentions. Flavian Pratt rides for Brad Cox. Second last time out in the Crescent City Oaks at the Fairgrounds. This one is 2 wins, 2 seconds, and 5 tries lifetime. This one should be mid-pack with a nice little late run late. The 4 is Running and Gunning. Jose Ortiz rides for Steve Asmussen. Third last time out in the Fantasy at Oaklawn Park. 3 wins and 8 tries. Another mid-pack runner with 1 late move. The 5 is Kinsey Queen. Junior Alvarado rides, the winner of the Kentucky Derby on Sovereignty. Winner last time in a mile of 16th allowance at Oaklawn Park. Only her second win in 11 tries. This one runs from the back, but has shown a nice kick late. The 6 is Paris Lilly. Joel Rosario rides for Brendan Walsh. Winner last time in a mile of 16th allowance at Keeneland. Not sure if this one has enough late, but we'll see. The 7 is Reply. Irad Ortiz rides. Second last time out in Weber City. Mistakes. Her first loss in 3 tries. I think this one stays closer today and duels Kinsey and Amarth with those coming from the back. The 8 is Amarth with Luis Saez. Fifth last time in the Grade 1 Ashland at Keeneland. This one takes a while to get going. Not sure he has enough late. The 9, the last horse here is Moon Cash. Third last time out in the Weber City Mistakes. This one is going to try to win gate to wire, I think. I don't think she can hold him off, though. I just don't think there's enough pace here, and I don't think the closers are good enough. So I'm going kind of with the mid-pack horse. I'm going with the Princess Aaliyah. This one's the granddaughter of Winning Colors, and I think it's just going to be just right. I think the trip this one is going to be just perfect for this one. Hoping she gets a nice jump on the ones coming from the back and pulls away. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. But yeah, I'll be playing for this one on top. This is my money back special. How about you, Nick?
I've changed my mind since you and I talked before we went on here. My wife was on Reply last Saturday or last Sunday, whenever they drew for this race, and she told me that Reply was going to win. And I've watched enough people talk about this race that have said that Reply has a chance. So now I have to at least say I'm going to bet on Reply because my wife said that. You also get Rapoli going to Brittany Russell, which is an interesting trainer choice because he's running with Pletcher. So having this one go to Colonial and passed a bunch of horses in its maiden debut. Now it was 2-5 in that Colonial maiden win, but then came back and ran a nice second in the Weber City behind Complexity Jane and beat Moon Cachet. But closed really, really fast and going a mile and a 16th. So she's one that seems like she can actually get the distance. And when Brittany Russell takes her husband off and puts Irad on, it makes me feel like they're pointing to this race. So currently sitting at 7-2, I think those are good enough odds. And the way the doubles are setting, it looks like Reply may actually float up a little bit from that 7-2. So if I get anywhere near 4-1, it'll be it'll be just a straight win bet for me on Reply.
Well, I got some bad news. We got a weather delay.
Oh
So
no.
they pushed it back 29 minutes, well, 30 minutes. So we're going to have a little time to kill. Maybe we can watch a replay or something. But yeah, it looks like this one is set to go off now at 7 minutes after the hour. It was initially scheduled to go off in about
We're
8
good with like
minutes from now.
3:30, right,
Say again?
Nora? We're good with like 3:30.
Okay, yeah. If you need to go, Nick, no problem.
Oh no, we're good. Sorry, I thought I was
But
muted. No, I'm taking Nora. She has her section track finals today at Riverbanks.
oh,
So
good luck. Good luck,
yeah,
Nora. Oh, Riverbank, whereabouts is that?
south of Modesto. So it's about an hour and a half drive. But
Okay, I made that trip on Wednesday. You might want to leave earlier
yeah.
because there was bad traffic in Manteca.
Yep, we were there on Wednesday as well for her qualifier, and now
Oh,
we get to
that's
go back
right.
on Friday.
That's
May I
right.
have your
So
attention, please?
I'll see the announcement.
For your safety, the property has initiated its shelter-in-place procedure.
I don't.
Currently, we ask you to calmly remain inside of the facility,
Oh,
and
it
if
must
you
be
are in an
lightning.
outside concourse or
must
apron
be.
area, please proceed to the
Wow.
nearest indoor location.
Okay, now they
Please
got
turn
me
your
wondering.
attention to video screens within the facilities and the public
I wonder
address
if they're
system
having
for
a
updates as we can provide them.
tornado warning.
You may leave the premises at your discretion. We welcome and encourage all guests to remain until the appropriate all clear can be given.
Wow. And it's what 80 degrees and sunny here in Sacramento. So maybe they should shut down Pimlico and move it to Cal Expo. They don't have anything going on over here.
I don't think there's going to be anything going on at Cal Expo for a while. I'm pulling up the radar now just so we get a peek of what's coming through. I'm going to
Wow.
pull this off the screen. It looks like it's a pretty big sell. So let me pull this off here. Bear with me 1 second. And we'll call up the weather screen and see what we got here. Oh, we have an ad.
Not so bad. Big one coming though.
I
Yeah.
can't
So they
tell.
I mean, it's
Can't
going through right
tell.
now, and it's pretty dark, but then it clears up. It looks like so. Looks like a pretty sloppy track they're going to be running on here in a little bit.
Well, that kind of changes things a little bit then.
It was muddy before. I think it was well. It's being colored fast, but it looks. The race I watched, I just watched the one before this, and it looked muddy at worst or at best, and sloppy is kind of where I would have been, just based on my visuals of it on a screen. Wow, that's a storm.
Yeah, and it's I'll freeze it at its current state. Next time it rolls through, here it comes again. So right about here. So it looks like it's about to hit. Probably hitting now. So yeah, 30-minute delay will be looks like it's going to be about 7 minutes after. I wish I'd seen that, otherwise I wouldn't have come on right away, but
I think they
it is
just
what it
announced it
is.
looks like. How long? Like, how long is of a run is that? Is that like I can't see what it says in the. Is it like an hour? Is that all day or is that a?
Oh no, that's just it should be gone. That's up to 11 o'clock our time
Oh,
or their
gotcha.
time. So
Oh, I see.
this is an hour before. This is current right there.
Gotcha.
This
And then
is
this
an
is
hour later. Yeah.
gotcha.
So
Okay,
it's
yeah. So
within
it's
it's a 3 minute.
quick one. Yeah, quick,
Yeah.
very big, and then gone.
Right. Well,
Interesting.
we have a few minutes now. Let me get rid of this, and we'll talk a little bit about the
I say, have you looked at the
field again.
Preakness at all?
I a little bit. I'm let me see if I can get the field up. I haven't really watched a whole lot of video on the new ones that are in there, the Clever again or whatever that one was called. But of the ones that are new to the Triple Crown campaign, which ones do you like?
So goal oriented ran in the third race of Derby Day and won somewhat convincingly for Baffert. Um, it's interesting that he's back here. He's the one horse, and he went gate to wire in his in that at Churchill that day. It feels like they're moving him here because Rodriguez is out, and they just feel like they're obligated because it's the same ownership in Baffert. So they kind of just pointed this one here. You get Pratt, and so at 6-1, which I don't think you get anywhere near. I think if you get anywhere near 6-1, you hammer it, but I think you're going to get closer to 2-1, 5-2. He seems a little interesting. Journalism's the 2, American Promise the 3. Heart of Honor is the one coming from the UAE Derby, who ran second behind Admire Daytona. I don't know. He's been okay, and they didn't. I mean, he could have gone to the Derby, and they chose not to take him to the Derby, which is interesting. So there's a little bit of a interest in that one, but I feel like he may just be over his head. The 5 Pay Billy I've mentioned about 7 times on different YouTube shows and comment sections I've been in. I got beat by Pay Billy last out in the prep for this, the Federico Tessio. I had played Just a Fair Shake, who was 22-1, and Pay Billy beat him by a length and a half. And at the top of the stretch, I may have made a noise that was not couldn't be heard by things other than dogs at how high pitched I was, because I had it for, I believe it was $100 win bet on 22-1. I was pretty excited, and Pay Billy just kept running. He doesn't have any of the numbers that are fast enough to win this race, but also he's been progressively getting better. So he's an interesting one for me. And Just a Fair Shake does run earlier in the day tomorrow. And the 3-year-old boy race, that is race 10, the Sir Barton Stakes. So you may get a little sense of what Pay Billy is with that one. The 6 River Thames, who I know you liked in the Fountain of Youth, and then kind of came back and liked a little bit of the Bluegrass. And he's running in this race. I don't know that he wants the distance, but I don't know how much of a ask is to go from a mile and an eighth to a mile and 3/16. Just adding an extra 16th of a mile, so maybe it won't be too bad. But he held on for third in a pretty good race in the Bluegrass. Sandman's a 7 coming in from the Derby, who's going to be way over bet. And then you get to who you were talking about before, Clever again, who won the Hot Springs to get an automatic bid into the Preakness. And he's won his last 2 races. He initially raced in April of his 2-year-old year and ran second, took a year off, and then came back to win in February, and then won again. And he's been good, beat Gaming in that race. So one that I feel has some real chance here, especially with the speed figure he's put up. And if he can get the lead, he may just keep going. And then lastly, you got Cosger, the 9. Brendan Walsh, he won the Lexington. We watched that race on here, and we were, not super impressed with him, but he was 4-1 and with IRAD and ran pretty well. So I don't think there's a great horse in here outside of Journalism, but I think Journalism on a 2-week rest, and it sounds like he was prepped for this Triple Crown trail, so he's ready to run all 3 of them. I just think that he may be just a little bit short come 2 weeks back. So I might take a small swing against him, probably with Clever again, but I'm not going to get too clever in that race and when it's all said and done.
Yeah, this is kind of a tough call. the field size, I wish it was more like 12.
Yep.
That one worries me a little bit. And I actually think, as much as I don't like Sandman, I think the smaller field really helps Sandman because the less horses he has to run around, the better. And he just really raw. He's really talented, but he's really raw. He drifts a lot, and I might be willing to take a chance on Sandman in this race. I'm kind of with you. 2 weeks after the Derby for journalism might be a little too much for this one. But it would not shock me too if he won two by five lengths. But I think it's worth playing against.
Yep.
I'm not real crazy about American Promise. I guess the big question mark here is how good is Heart of Honor? Heart of Honor showed some a really good fight there in the UAE Derby, but I'm trying not to get burned by another UAE Derby. I know I said this earlier in the year, but something tells me this one might be better than we think.
And
So
also had the 6 weeks instead of the 4 weeks that the UAE had this year. So there is a little bit there. He's also facing 9 and not 20. So you can make the case for him. I think it's a better case to be made than winning the Derby.
yeah, River Thames I do like, but I don't like River Thames on top. I like River Thames second, third, or fourth if
Yep,
I'm playing the superfecta. I think this is
absolutely.
I think this is a really good exacta play underneath and a trifecta play underneath.
Yep.
But you're going to need some value, so I'll need your help on one from underneath. I know you normally lean on me for the longer shot. If I had to pick one, I would probably go Gosger. I was kind of impressed by that Lexington run,
Yep.
and Luis Saez has been a good Triple Crown race jockey. I'd be tempted to get Gosger. I don't think you're going to get 20-1. You might, but and then I'd have to look at some of the other longer shots. Pay Billy. I'd have to watch that race. Um, I'm not sure if Pay Billy if that's his uh home track, but if he
It is.
is,
I mean, well,
see that
Laurel is his home, but
right,
they're running it
close,
Pimlico, unfortunately.
right.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah, and to me that weighs heavy. I do like that angle, especially with longer shots to hit the board underneath. So I'll have to take a look at Pay Billy and watch a couple of races there. What's Pay Billy's record?
He's won his last um, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's won 4 of his last 5, and he has 4 wins on 8 starts.
Huh. I wonder if I could pull up. Let me see if I can pull up. Do they have advanced Pimlico today
Yes,
or
they do.
advanced Preakness?
Yep.
I'm gonna see if I can pull up. Go ahead and carry me here for a minute.
Yep. So I would see the question in there, Dave, I believe it is. They're going to run on 7 minutes after the hour here. They have a big weather storm coming through, and I'm going to turn my vacuum cleaner off. Apparently, it says it come right underneath me for a second.
Let me put the link to our stream. If you want to join us, I'm gonna put it into the comments here. And when I see you pop in, I'll let you get into the conversation here because we do have a little time. There it is, and just go ahead and follow the prompts there. And when I see you come in, I'll pop you in there. Would love to hear your thoughts if on this race or on the Preakness tomorrow. Like I said, we have about 17 minutes before the start of the Black Eyed Susan, so we got a little time to kill. I'm gonna scroll back over and see if I can
The way I was
find.
looking at this race was I thought that, or of the Preakness tomorrow, I thought I make key journalism in second and then kind of play around in third with a couple of different options. I think Cosger makes a lot of sense. I think River Thames makes a lot of sense in third. And I'd probably play Pay Billy in third also. So journalism in second, 5, 6, 9 in third. And I'll probably play Clever again on top. And then probably play Clever again in that third spot too, and put the others kind of on top of journalism. I'm not going to get so cute and lose all my money if journalism wins because he's by far the best one here. But with that said, 2 week turnaround, we saw what happened to Mage, who we thought was the best horse in that race, and he got beat pretty badly. Mystic Dan last year, same thing, where he came back and he just didn't have the kick. Now, he did get beat by a horse that won the Pat Day Mile, which was ran the same day as the Derby, but going a mile and not nearly as tough of a race as the Derby is. So I'm against all the ones in the Derby that are coming out of the Derby here. I just feel like, they may win. They will likely hit the board because they are just better than a lot of this group. But I don't think that this group is a complete walkover. So I think Clever Again makes the most sense, though I'm not very clever. Ha ha ha. I've seen him kind of over there a few times, so seems like one that's been, going to get bet down from that 5-1 for sure.
Okay, here's the Pay Billy replay of the last race.
They're
I'm
going
going
to
to
make me
play
watch
this.
this, huh? Just watch the 9. Watch what happens to the 9 coming around this first turn, and tell me that if you had $100 on a 22-1 shot, you aren't mad.
And they're off into Federico Tessio. Beat slow to begin. There was Kentucky Outlaw.
Sorry, I had the 10.
Right wing runner showing early foot. Surfside Moon from the rail and bold diversion. The Grays right up there with speed into the turn. Run Sacred Thunder. Ooh, almost
Just
went
look how
down
far
there.
my 10 gets thrown
Head
outside.
too steady and bobbled into the first turn. Run Sacred Thunder had trouble. Pay Billy in the meantime had clear sailing into fourth. Now Sacred Thunder has recovered to race in fifth in between
So
horses.
Pay Billy
as
is
they
the
round that
9 who's in the
turn.
white there.
On the inside is Arcadian losing a spot or two. And here's Just a Fair Shake within 5 of the lead, out in the clear. Kentucky Outlaw will have to come from out of it today, is 7 lengths from right wing runner, who continues on a conservative lead. About 5.5 furlongs left to go on. And next is Studley, due right back of the pack, and Happily Delusional trailing the field. Pretty even pace out there for right wing runner. Right wing runner, half length in front from Bold Diversion. Pay Billy is third and keeping up on the outside. Surfside Moon is next in fourth. Just a Fair Shake fifth. Sacred Thunder is next. Arcadian on the inside. A Kentucky Outlaw is about 3 wide past the half-mile pole. Now a challenge for right wing runner as Bold Diversion on the outside puts ahead in front, and Pay Billy kicking into action. Here's Pay Billy. Pay Billy 3 wide. Just a Fair Shake moving strongly on the outside, and Kentucky Outlaw broke a beat slow is coming ridden along there fourth, almost third on the outside, top of the stretch. It's a wide open Federico Tessio. Just a Fair Shake, Justin Trud. Just a Fair Shake turns in. Pay Billy is battling every step of the way. 3 back at it. Side Moon third. Kentucky Outlaw flattened out a bit in fourth as they come to the final furlong, and Bold Diversion is fifth. Pay Billy and Just a Fair Shake, they're nose to nose to the final furlong. Extreme Outside trying to pick up a share is Happily Delusional, but Pay Billy's in front with a 16th to go. Pay Billy, Just a Fair Shake, Surfside Moon, late run Happily Delusional, Pay Billy.
Boy, it's a little too slow for me to be interested in Pay Billy, I think. A mile and 139.
Yeah.
And then a mile and 8 and 152.
52.78.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to go back and watch another one, but
yeah, that's his best one. So
that's it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that's his best speed figure. I don't know about time, but he's definitely not one that I'm like, oh man, you really got to play him. But looking at the time form figure, ran a 105, which puts him right there in the mix with most of them. A step below or step and a half below journalism, and half a step below goal oriented. So kind of that filling out that trifecta is kind of where his head, like his top seems to be. And even that probably is asking too much, but he won his way in. So you don't, I'm glad that Connection decided to run him here. He's won 4 of his last 5 and won his way into this race. You might as well go to the Preakness. It's the home track race, so do it.
Okay, looks like they have some video up, but I think they're showing a replay of. Let's see what it is here.
3/4 in 1:11 and 2, and they're into the stretch in the slop at Pimlico, and American Pharaoh has pulled away to a 2.5 length lead over Divining Rod, and then it's Dortmund. Tail of Verve, a huge long shot, is making a move on the far outside, but American Pharaoh is all by himself. He is 5 lengths in front as they come to the wire, and American Pharaoh and Victor Espinoza have won the Preakness over Tail of Verve.
I forgot that race was in the mud.
So they did push it back even more to 31 minutes from now. So
oh my gosh,
yeah.
Well,
for your safety, the property has initiated a shelter-in-place procedure.
I'm wondering if we should leave and come
we
back.
ask
I
you
know
to
you
remain
have to
inside
take
of a
off pretty
facility, and
soon.
if you are in an outside
But I hate to have the
concourse
audience
or
to sit
apron
here
area,
and
please
wait
proceed to the nearest
for this.
indoor
But
location. Please turn your attention to
I,
video.
I'll gladly talk about a couple of the races
Public
tomorrow.
address
There's a
to
Sure,
couple that
yeah.
as we can
like
provide them.
the Sir
You may
Barton
leave
tomorrow,
informative at your discretion.
race
We
10
welcome
is
and
the
Call it up.
encourage all
3-year-old
guests to remain
mile and a 16th on dirt, which is, it's basically the Preakness, but for ones that want to go 8.5 furlongs instead of 9.5 furlongs. And they got 9 horses in this field. And if it were up to me, they'd get rid of the Sir Barton. They'd put 6 of these into the Preakness, and we'd have 12 or 15 in the Preakness. But one that we talked about a while ago, Bear Claw Necklace, I'm pretty sure scratched out of a race is here, coming in from Gulfstream, and I think he has 0 chance. But I also think that he may be one of the keys to this race because it looks like he wants to go. And the 3-horse going with I believe the 6 Invictus is going to want to go as well, though did win last out kind of sitting off, but seems like it may just be fast and was going 7 furlongs at Keeneland. So I think this race may get a super fast pace, which then kind of sets up for one to come from off of it. Now, the way the track's played so far today, maybe that doesn't happen because the track is playing so speed favoring. But you have the one Crudo, which is a Pletcher with Johnny V on from the rail, feels like it has to go, though I don't know if it's going to be quite fast enough. You may get 3 or 4 or 5 horses that are just kind of sent to go, which then sets up the other 5 to kind of come flying. There's just not a whole lot behind that I'm super excited about. I think him, who I kind of liked his debut, the 7-horse with Louis Saez up. I liked his debut race at Oaklawn running 6 furlongs. They then stretched him out to a mile and a 16th and then a mile and an 1/8, and just seemed to be maybe a bit too far from him too quickly. But now cutting back, a 16th of a mile, half a furlong to the mile and a 16th, and may get a nice setup here with Louis Saez up. And then the one we just talked about, Just a Fair Shake. He was 22 to 1 last time in that Federico Tessio. Now 6 to 1 the morning line. I think he's going to float up just a smidge. I don't think you're going to get a huge price on him, but I think the 6 Invictus, who's 9 to 5 on the morning line, is going to take a bunch of money. There's Brad Cox, Flavian Pratt, and the one Todd Pletcher and Johnny V with Crudo. I think those 2 would take a bunch of the money. So I think Just a Fair Shake maybe 8 to 1. He's one that I kind of have a little interest in. Like we just watched that replay, which feels like maybe we can get something out of him. But him is the one that I think is going to have the best chance to kind of sit the trip and make a move. I'm a little afraid he's going to come down from his 4 to 1. So I'm on him and Just a Fair Shake, depending on the price there. And I'm going to watch some of these races. I'm going to do my best to bet on none of the races before this, maybe 1 or 2 or 3. I mean, it's race 10. I'm not going to make it that long. So let's see. I'm not going to bet on more than 3 races before this, but I want to see how the dirt's playing and see if if it is as forwardly placed as I think it may be. There's a part of me that just wants to play Bear Claw Necklace, who I think may just get the lead and go. I don't think he's a great horse by any stretch, but I also think it's a weird place for Savvy Joseph, Irad Ortiz to show up. And if it is playing more fairly, I think there's a case made for him or Just a Fair Shake.
Mr. Bogan, just looking at the pace numbers, it doesn't make much sense because it says this one's an E8, but it shows his early pace
Yeah.
at 78, the second part of the early pace, an 86, and then the late pace, which has caught my attention, appears to be the best of these runners. But if the early pace 1 and early pace 2 were a little bit more towards the top, I would probably consider this one, especially at 20 to 1. But I'm a little confused. They're a little flip flop for some reason. Same thing with Just a Fair Shake. This one's considered a presser, but it looks like he's shown good early speed and then so speed late. So, but I think just a Fair Shake, just based on this, might be a good play at 6 to 1. Depending on if you get 6 to 1 or not.
Yeah, the one problem I have with Mr. Bogan is they are taking those numbers off of a Parks race, and I don't trust anything at Parks. And so you just kind of run into a little bit of an issue of those numbers always seem to be inflated, especially when all you're looking at are the numbers. I'm a big time Form US fan, and they gave that his last race, which is a starter allowance race, which was for horses that had started for a claiming price of $16,000 or less and had never won 3 races. So a real low level. They gave him a 94 at Parks, which is just feels inflated. He didn't have a single pace figure that was very high, and so he ran off at 2-1 and ran second by a neck. So it just feels like I don't know if I trust those. And you kind of look at the class he's been in, and what you're looking at. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. And then you actually dig into it a little bit. You're like, oof, that's if he wins, good for him. It's a tough one to make a real case for, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree there. Let me go back to Pimlico. It looks like you're right. It's 25 minutes out now, and I wish they would show the
Initiated its
track.
shelter-in-place procedure.
Oh, they just keep saying it, huh?
Yeah, they aren't showing the track. I don't know if that's maybe because they shut down the cameras so that they don't damage them, maybe, if there is lightning. But yeah, we're in a delay. If you want to join the chat right now while we have some time to kill, I put the link in the comments. You can do it with your cell phone if you want. You don't have to have the camera on if you don't want. But yeah, I'd love to hear your opinion of this race and tomorrow's Preakness. We just got some time to kill here while we wait for the weather to clear at Pimlico. We had the radar up a little while ago, and it looks like it was probably the main part was passing right about now, and I guess they felt like they needed to wait a few minutes just to make sure. Boy, look at that! I don't know
Wow.
I don't know
Well,
when that was.
that was Justify.
That was the Justify, the race they just showed.
Yeah, this one here is
Yeah.
I'm gonna break some news to you since I know you haven't looked at this yet. Brock Purdy just got a 5-year contract with the Niners.
Hold on. 55 a year?
I can't do math.
Okay,
265 million.
For 5 years?
5 years, yeah.
265 divided by 5, 53 million.
With 181 guaranteed. Man.
Well, I mean, you don't have what are your options really? You're not getting Rodgers. I don't want Rodgers.
But you don't want Rodgers, and you also don't want to give Brock Purdy $50 million a year. So it's a rock in a hard spot, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it. I mean, it's just the market. It's just what it is. And I don't want to go the Kirk Cousins route or one of those things that they wanted to do. I'm glad they didn't get Kirk Cousins when they talked about getting them, but it is what it is. They've got bigger problems than that right now. But luckily, I don't have to think about football for a couple more months.
For a long time. We got many months till that. I got a notification on my phone that it had happened, so I knew that you're a Niner fan. So
yeah, I know a lot of my followers here on YouTube. They watch the Niner videos that I put. What I do is I sync the audio from KMBR because a lot of people like Greg Papa, who calls the 49er games. So I sync the audio of Greg Papa with the NFL TV broadcast. And it turns out real good. And I've actually got a lot of viewers out of that. That's kind of how this all started, basically. The problem is I don't make any money. I make zero money. The NFL gets all the money from my videos. But like I said, I do continue to grow my audience with those videos, and it's kind of helped with our audience here on with horse racing. But horse racing is my number one love, really, especially during the Triple Crown season. Actually, early, even in the fall, I enjoy it. I know it's crazy that we watch prep races in September and October, but it's what else are we gonna do?
Well, I like horse racing on Sundays in July too. So, but my problem is I like it every day, and I wish I was just a couple of times I was watching it. But here I am, tomorrow looking at the Churchill Downs. The first post is 6 p.m. Eastern, so it's a 3 o'clock Pacific first post, and then the last race goes off at 11 o'clock Eastern. So you get a 5-hour day of 11 races, and it's all after the Preakness. Preakness starts at 8:30 tomorrow morning West Coast time, and I'll be watching until 8 o'clock at the Churchill. So I got a nice 12-hour day ahead of me with races I don't even want to bet on. But it's better than watching baseball tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to play a race since we have a few minutes.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
going
we
to
got
give you a little
35 minutes.
backstory.
They pushed it back again.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Well, I'm going
I
to play
will
this.
hop out here a little bit. Yeah, I'll watch this race with you.
So this is kind of how it all started for me for as far as horse racing goes. I got involved because I used to watch Breeders' Cup when it first started, and this is one of the first couple of years that it started. It was a horse, a filly called Personal Ensign, and Personal Ensign was coming into this race undefeated. I want to say Personal Ensign was, I think she was 12-0, I think, and this was going to be her last race, and it was an off track, and nobody thought she could win on this track. And in fact, all the way up until the last 200 yards, nobody thought this horse could win. So this is the race. I won't say anything more.
Personal Ensign has taken her place in the starting gate, and she will certainly take her place in history as one of the greatest fillies of all time. She seeks to retire here undefeated, the first major American horse to do so in 80 years. There is a Derby winner in the field in Winning Colors who seeks to stop her streak at 12, and they're up in the distaff. Goodbye Halo broke well in Winning Colors now, and she's going to run right on the lead early. Well, On the Move has come out running in third, and she's taken in hand. Integra now has been gathered back in fourth position as they head for the first turn. Personal Ensign was away in good order now. She'll be floated a bit wide going into the turn.
Personal Ensign will be mid-pack for the most part.
All the way on the inside. And then Classic Crown is one horse beaten, and that is Hail the Cab as they round the first turn. And the Derby winner is Loose on the lead. It's Winning Colors now, and she's opened up by 4.5 lengths. Goodbye Halo is second, and Vasquez asking Shamsay for run now third toward the inside. Willa On the Move.
Winning Colors is the grandmother of Aaliyah.
The undefeated filly is now 9 lengths off the lead as they continue up the backstretch.
And Personal Ensign is
still
falling back.
Winning Colors loose on the lead by 2.5. Shamsay is running second. On the outside, Goodbye Halo in striking position is third. Willa On the Move is asked for more run fourth. Personal Ensign is still 8 lengths out of it. There's a half mile to run, and Winning Colors doing what she did in the Derby. She's still 3 running on the lead. 3 furlongs to run, and she leads now by 3. Goodbye Halo beginning to pick it up in second now. Shamsay is third toward the rail. Personal Ensign is putting her run in on the inside now. She takes to the outside. 5 lengths off the lead of Winning Colors, who turns for home here at Churchill Downs. Stevens going to a vigorous left-handed whip, holding on by 2. Goodbye Halo is charging hard. Here comes Personal Ensign, unleashing a furious run on the outside, but it is still Winning Colors. Goodbye Halo. Personal Ensign, a 16th of a mile from the wire. Winning Colors is there. Personal Ensign, a dramatic finish, and here is the wire, and it is Winning Colors in a photo. Very close. At the 16th pole, it looked like Personal Ensign was facing her first defeat, but in those final 110 courageous yards, she certainly proved herself a champion this afternoon.
And
have you seen this guy? You know, the one that keeps telling us to stop.
It's a good reason why.
I'll be honest, I get teared up every time I see that.
Oh, that's great.
They used to have a contest in the Sacramento Bee on I'm not sure if it was the first Breeders' Cups or if it was Arlington Million Day, but you circled the winners of the 10 races, and then you mailed it in to the newspaper, and whoever got the most wins, they won some. I think they won cash. Sound really illegal, but anyway, the Sacramento Bee here in Sacramento used to do it, and I heard, and I actually knew this guy. He was a friend of mine. That this guy would watch the race, circle all the winners or enough that he think would win. He would put it in an envelope, and then he would go to the post office and drop it underneath one of the doors there, and it would look like to the post office people that, oh, something fell out of our basket, and they would deliver it. And so it would get to the Sacramento Bee a day late, but they would say, oh, well, this is the winner. And he pulled it off and he won, and then he got caught. I don't know how he got caught, but he got caught. It was kind of genius, but kind of stupid at the same time. But it's just funny because I ended up working at the Bee for 30-something years, and I shared that story so many times with those people that did that. But he would sit there, watch him. Okay, that horse won, and then seal it. Oh, he actually mailed himself a letter, so it had the stamp
thing on there.
That's what he did. He did that, so it had the stamp, and then he resealed it and threw it underneath the door. Stupid ass.
The times before the internet were really wild times, right? Like, think about trying to do that now. Like, everybody has to email it in. It's like, yeah, you got to email it in by a certain time. Here it is. So yeah, it fell out of the mailman's pouch. Look, I got the winner.
It's so stupid. Every time I watch that race that we just watched, I think about that stupid ass that did that. But
that's so funny.
Anyway, I know you have your meet. I don't want to make you late, so anytime you feel like you need to go ahead.
Yeah, half an hour to go here. I think I'll hop off and go grab her.
Yeah,
we'll get
go
moving here.
get a jump on traffic, and
yeah.
Good luck. Tell her good luck to run her heart out.
I'm going to be on reply. I'll watch it halfway down 99 and see if I can't get a winner there before I get to Elk Grove.
All right. Well, what we'll probably do here is we'll probably just leave this up and go silent until we get closer. It looks like I have a feeling they're going to stay on track for the 28 minutes. So, Nick, good luck. Drive careful. And if you're in the audience, it will probably be quiet for the most part until we get closer, and then we'll bring it back up. But we will definitely carry it here. And Nick, for the record, who are you going with? Oh, he's gone. Okay. Well, Nick's gone. Maybe I'll chime him or ping him later. And if you want to join, now that Nick's gone, we're going to wait this one out. If you want to join, click on that link, follow the prompts, and I'll get you in here. You can share your thoughts on this race or the Preakness. But we're going to wait this one out. We're going to let this weather pass. And I'll just go ahead and leave this up on the side here. Actually, go ahead and do this. And I'll go ahead and grab some water. I'll be back in a little bit. You're welcome to just sit here and watch the screen. I'll put the volume up so that you can have any announcements here as well. So there you go. All right.
Funny side was the Preakness. There was a lot of pressure on me. I won the Kentucky Derby. Now the Preakness coming, and let's say I better win this race no matter what.
And they're off. And Funny Side brush with New York Hero coming out of the gate.
I can say Funny Side was in top of his career at that time, and probably was the best race that he ever run.
They're in the final furlong now. Funny Side and Jose Santos turning the Preakness into a runaway. A huge effort here. It is Funny Side, and he's heading home back to Belmont. He's won the Preakness by almost 10 lengths.
He was one of the best 3-year-olds at the time.
We broke out, and I had to kind of hustling to get to the lead because there was another horse that was kind of trying to make the lead. But once I got to the front, I was able to slow it down. I think we went 3/4 in like 11, which on that day wasn't that fast. And then at that point, I was just waiting for Aladar. It was just sitting there thinking, when's he going to come? And, you know, saving as much as I could. And when he did come, I mean, it was like 2 jet planes going down the stretch. We really, I think it actually, I don't know, it may still be, but it was the fastest last 3/16 ever run in the Preakness at the time anyway.
Well, the Preakness is a very special race on the racing calendar, and certainly to participate in that race, and to be so fortunate as to win it 5 times was absolutely, remarkable. The first classic race I won was the Preakness on Tanks Prospect, and I just, just a thrill to win a race of that magnitude, and um, I really can't even put into words the joy of being there, participating, all the festivities and excitement, and just to be a part of that is very special.
Thanks for your patience. And now that this thunderstorm has passed through the area, racing will resume. And post time for the Georgie Mitchell Black-Eyed Susan Stakes is now 6:55. 6:55 post time for the Georgie Mitchell Black-Eyed Susan Stakes. And please note, race 14 has been canceled. Race 14 canceled today due to the delay with this heavy thunderstorm has passed through the Baltimore area. Again, race 13, the Georgie Mitchell Black-Eyed Susan Stakes, rescheduled post 6:55 p.m. Race 14 canceled. Once again, racing will resume with the Georgie Mitchell Black-Eyed Susan Stakes. Scheduled post now 6:55. Race 14 has been canceled from today's card. Race 14 canceled.
Welcome back. I hope everyone is safe, and we did a good job here. We're going to be running our 13th race at 6:55 p.m. The 14th race has been canceled, but we will be running at 6:55 race 13, the big one. So make sure you stay here and have fun. Everything is safe. We're ready to go with race number 13. Like I said, the post time is 6:55. So good luck, everybody, and try and pick some winners in race number 13.
The George E. Mitchell Black Eyed Susan Stakes. Post time now 6:55 p.m. Reminder, you can play the Black Eyed Susan Preakness Double. Select the winners of the Black Eyed Susan tomorrow's Preakness for a classic payout. Black Eyed Susan Preakness Double. Advanced wagering available for the entire Preakness card today. In 2020, the Maryland Jockey Club and First Racing celebrated the life and legacy of Park Heights community leader George E. Mitchell with the introduction of the George E. Mitchell Black Eyed Susan Stakes. That same year, Park Heights Renaissance, the nonprofit organization shaping the future of the Park Heights community, announced the George E. Mitchell Fellowship Grant to empower dedicated visionary leaders and organizations to scale social enterprises, build capacity, and drive meaningful change in Park Heights and beyond. Park Heights Renaissance recently announced this year's grant recipient. Be Spirit Squared Y, a grassroots after-school program that has cultivated a vibrant, empowering space where children learn to navigate high-risk challenges, dream beyond their circumstances, and form lasting connections. With limited resources but boundless commitment, Be Spirit has become a cornerstone of the neighborhood-led progress and a powerful example of collective impact in action. Be Spirit received a grant for $50,000 to continue its work in the community. We'd like to congratulate this year's recipient. 22 minutes to the George E. Mitchell Black Eyed Susan Stakes. Again, race 14 on the program today has been canceled after this long weather delay. The Black Eyed Susan will be off at 6:55.
Well, I'm very honored to be joined by the First Lady and also Yolanda Jiggets from Park Heights Renaissance. With you, please, Dawn. The beautiful building behind us and the facility here recently we acquired by the state of Maryland, and that was under the leadership of your husband, the governor. What does that mean to you personally?
Well, this is such an exciting time. The state has invested $400 million into the rethinking and the renovation of this track, this historic track here in the Park Heights community. And so we have $400 million going to the track, but more importantly, we have $75 million going to the community of Park Heights, and we have $3 million through my husband's Historic Enough Act. And what has happened is that the community has come together in partnership with the state to leave no one behind. That was what my husband ran on, and that is what he's committed to doing.
What is your vision then for the future of Maryland?
Well, my vision is that we work in partnership together. We establish something in partnership with the Park Heights Renaissance and the community, the Preakness Festival 150. And what we're so excited about is that there are people in the community that have been doing the work. Yolanda is one of those people. And we're so grateful for her. And so when we came together in this partnership, it was our hope that we would give a bit of a boost with government, with nonprofits and private sector to establish an opportunity for everybody to be included in this great historic culture of the Preakness.
And that Park Heights Renaissance has really been a force for change here in Maryland. How does the renovation help your project?
So it really actually is a compliment to all of the great work that's been happening already in Park Heights. As First Lady Moore said, this is all about collective impact, and the partnership with the governor is a game changer for us. It helps us accelerate all of the great work that we have been trying to do, and it helps us move faster and stronger together.
We're very excited to be a part of this relationship together. And before I leave, you both look so stunning. May I ask who you're wearing?
Oh, you're so kind to ask that. Well, I always use local designers. I'm so grateful for Jill Andrews. She created this hat and the dress. So I'm truly grateful for her beautiful design.
Absolutely beautiful. And you're
And I'm just on her coattails.
you wear it well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies. Appreciate it. And best of luck with your projects.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. We're 15 minutes to post here after a lengthy rain delay. A big cell has passed through. It looks like the weather, for the most part, has stopped, and they're just letting some of the water drain off the track. 15 minutes to start of the race, approximately 55 minutes after the hour. Nick is gone. He's off to a family event. I'll pop back in here as soon as we get horses in the paddock. But we'll show the race. We'll continue to stay here until the end of the Black-Eyed Susan from Pimlico.
Race number 13, the event we have been waiting all day for, a mile and an eighth, the grade 2 Black-Eyed Susan. Millie, we're back. A little bit of rain in the area, but
Yes.
now it is absolutely beautiful.
When there's rain, there's a rainbow. Right behind us, it was like, cue the rainbow. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's absolutely gorgeous out. Now, the track conditions are listed as sloppy as we approach the Black-Eyed Susan event here, and that kind of changes the race a little bit, Millie.
I would agree with you as well. You got to sort of, rub out all your handicapping and start from scratch again. Look for the horses that either have the pedigree, that enjoy a wet track, or are already proven on a wet track.
All of the fillies came up to the track in good order behind us. They look like they didn't turn a hair as they got a little bit of time before coming up to the track. They held them in the stakes barn before coming up here. So all of them were very well behaved and look fantastic. But we'll start with the number 2, Princess Aaliyah for the coach.
Yeah, this is a filly we were talking about a little bit earlier when we were going through the tickets. Ran an anomaly last time out, right?
Yeah.
The coach saying that there was an incident in the paddock and she kind of backed up into the wall and it rattled her a little bit. And she just, put a line through that race. She didn't run a jump. I like that because she comes back relatively quickly, so she didn't have a hard race by any means. And now you can look at her as coming in relatively fresh for this race.
She has a tendency to kind of throw a good race, poor race, good race, poor race. So if you look at that form, and she seems very well behaved here, that you might be sitting on a big one.
It's interesting you bring that up because one thing the coach kept saying to me when I was, talking through his horses, every time I brought up Princess Alea, who, by the way, is named after one of the partner's daughters, he said, we've had a really good week with her. And you know how that goes. Some horses, they don't ship well, and then they can throw in a clunker. But it sounds like everything has gone smoothly. He's happy with the way she's come in.
Well, that's good. You want to come in on tip-top form, especially in a competitive race like this. Now, the number 8 here, Eddie Keneally, sends out this daughter of Mackenzie, who you knew quite well, being in California. Physically, kind of has the same type of body type, maybe just a little bit lighter.
And those Mackenzies, I don't know if you've noticed, but they actually take to the turf well. And when it rains, the track tightens up, as you know, and it runs a little bit more like a turf race. Now, I'm not saying this filly is going to be a turf race, but Amartha, I don't think the tightening of the track, the wetness, is going to hurt her at all.
No, because you look at her and you can even see from here just kind of that lighter hip on her. So I like what you bring up there about the fact that Mackenzie's have really taken to the grass. And she was wide in her last trip in the Ashland. And to me here in a race like this, she's one that certainly I will outrun her odds. I think you look at her last couple of races, Millie. I mean, she went off at huge prices, but the sloppy going is a big question mark.
And bang on the morning line of 4-1 right now. So the bettors see her as she is what she is.
Yes. Talk about the number 5, Kinsey Queen.
Kinsey Queen circled the field and ran a much better than looks race, in my opinion. She looked very push button in her start in that optional $200,000 race at Oaklawn 3 weeks ago. I love that because today she's going to be running the mile and an eighth. You want a horse that's going to chill, sit and relax early. And that's what I saw from Kinsey Queen. And then she just circled the field and gave up so much ground and still was able to come on and win. Huge effort. Is 3 weeks coming back from that big effort too soon? That's my only question
with the 5 Kinsey Queen. I guess we can throw another question in is the wet track. She's run on it twice. She's had a third. She handles it.
Yeah, she tolerates it, but a lot of these fillies, it's going to be a big guessing game here, Millie, because some of them have never gotten any of that kickback in their face, and you know how some of them they can handle it and they're fine, and others can just quite literally just throw in the towel and say I'm done here. Now the number 3, Marty's Intention, she is one that is proven on the slop. She was incredible when they stretched her out to the mile at Fairgrounds.
It really seemed by Honor AP, who's by Honor Code out of the Intermischief, who's a real middle distance type of horse. But Margie's Intention, she's going to have to step up. All her races have been against the state bred competition, and so that was the Louisiana breds. She's going to have to run against open and now graded stakes type here. So yes, she's going to have to move forward, but I do like the connections, Brad Cox and Flavian Pratt.
Yeah, this is a filly that's just been so game in all of her races. And yeah, you look at it and you say, okay, well, they were Louisiana breds. How strong was that competition? But the fact that she was so game really helps, and now moves in, like you said, to the Brad Cox barn. But you wonder, how is she going to handle it without Lasix today for the first time?
It's an interesting point. She is one of a few in here that've never run with the Lasix. So yeah, valid question in there. From a distance standpoint, she always seems to find her best stride late in her races. So I like that she's going 1.8 miles this afternoon. Will she handle an off track? Not sure.
Yeah, well, that is the grade 2 Black Eyed Susan field. They're stepping onto the track. Thank you for everybody who waited with us. This is best is yet to come as they're on the track for the grade 2 Black Eyed Susan.
The Georgie Mitchell Black Eyed Susan Stakes, $300,000 guaranteed, grade 2, 100 first running. One, Liam in the Dust, John Velasquez for Storyteller Racing, Michael Schreck. 2, Princess Aaliyah with Nick Juarez for BC Stables LLC, More Play Racing, Joey Platt, Wayne Lucas trains. 3, Margie's Intention, Flavian Pratt aboard for Windstar Farm LLC and Barron Stable, trained by Brad Cox. 4, Runnin' and Gunnin', Jose Ortiz aboard, owned by Douglas Scarborough. Steve Asmussen trains. 5, Kinsey Queen, Junior Alvarado in the saddle, owned by John Holloman, Compton Racing LLC, Greg Compton trainer. There's a 6, Paris Lily, Joel Rosario for Godolphin LLC, trained by Brennan Walsh. 7, Reply, Arad Ortiz Jr., owned by Rapoli Stable, trained by Brittany Russell. Number 8 is Amarth Luis Saez. Has the call for Green Lantern Stables LLC, trained by Eddie Keneally. And Moon Cash, number 9, Raul Mena up, owned by Original Six Stable and trained by Michael Gorham. Six minutes away, the Georgie Mitchell Black Eyed Susan Stakes. Grooms Award to Domingo Lagos. Best Turned Out Award presented by Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance and proudly sponsored by Holloway Feeds. Best Turned Out Runner, Moon Cash.
maybe a little bit delayed, but ready here for the Friday feature, the Grade 2 Black Eyed Susan. A great field here assembled, and now the question will be how this track is going to play with all the moisture that came down here in a brief downpour, but it's not going to change my selections here. Still going to go to the number 8, Emarth here as the top pick, a horse who I think when you look at the running style, this really should set up well for this filly. A very nice daughter of Mackenzie, who I know she disappointed in the Grade 1 Ashland last time out, but I think she had some excuses. Second start off the freshening, and today now third start. I think she would really take a step forward in her performance in the Busher. Drexel Hill was able to get by her, but I did think this filly was quite game. Emarth's a good price here on 4-1 on the tote board. Others, though, to consider when you think about the off track, you have to like what 6 Paris Lily was able to do for Brendan Walsh last time out over the slop at Keeneland. It was a great performance, nice first level allowance for this horse, was very speedy from the gate, was able to control things. And I love that race in terms of an off track was recent, where there is a handful of others in here where they have raced over the off going, but it was earlier in their career, and you have to kind of factor that in and how they've progressed. And luckily for her, it came last time out. I just think the speed play combined with Godolphin and their stock, they are red hot right now. Finally, the 4 running and gunning in terms of the top 3. Third in the fantasy, and you look at how the race played out in there, the top 2 quiet sides, Simply Joking. They put on a big show. They hooked up early, dueled all the way around the track, and this is the only filly that was really making up a ton of ground in those final stages. Now, her buyer speed figure did improve, but it didn't improve drastically. I still think she'll need to take another step forward here. It's interesting. She was 5-2 on the morning line. She's 8-1 on the board, and we'll round it out here with the favorite on the board, the 3, Margie's Intention, now in the Bard of Brad Cox. She's been very consistent now in her career, 2 for 5, and another one that's tactical enough. I think she can get the trip close enough to it where she won't have to really work a trip throughout traffic, and I think that could help her here as well. But 2-1's a little bit of a short price for me, so I do go price shopping here. Torn between the 8 and the 6, and I landed on the 8, Amarth. You can see horse is still warming up here, about 3 minutes to the post from the Grade 2, Black Eyed Susan. Good luck.
Still time to play the Black Eyed Susan Preakness double. Black Eyed Susan Preakness double, wagering 3 minutes.
Okay, it looks like we're about ready to go. 3 minutes to post. I'm going with a bit of a long shot here. Well, second longest shot on the board. I'm going with Princess Aaliyah, the granddaughter of Winning Colors. This one should be mid-pack and make a run. And as we were talking in the chat, I think the middle of the track is kind of where you want to be. I get a feeling there's going to be too much runoff there along the rail, and that could be trouble for Paris Lily, who I think will be along the rail and leading for most of the way, along with Liam. I'm trying to think of Liam's name. Liam in the Dust. So that's the way I'm going. I'm going with the 2 on top. My trifecta play is 2, 3, 4, 7, I believe it was. Yes, 2 with 3, 4, 7 in second, and 3, 4 second and third. Good luck if you're betting. I'd love to see what you're playing. Throw it in
2 minutes to the
on the
Black-Eyed
chat.
Susan Stakes.
And good luck.
Black Eyed Susan Preakness double, wagering.
I know it's been a long wait, so I thank you guys for hanging in there. We had about looks like an hour and 5-minute, hour and 10-minute delay. So thanks again. We can't control the weather. And hopefully maybe this will help the race pay a little better. Maybe there'll be a few more long shots in there. We'll see. But thanks again. We'll be here tomorrow for the Preakness. I believe, well, it's already scheduled. I don't want to guess, but I want to say it's probably around 4:30 Pacific. I could be off, but check the YouTube schedule there. It is scheduled already, and we'll probably be on about 15 minutes before the race, barring any delays like we did today. Mark likes $10 all with 1 and 4. Preakness Daily Double. All here, I think, is a good pick, with especially with the conditions now being muddy. And it looks like it's starting to fall through a little bit, but it's going to throw up some mud here, especially for those running from the back. I'm curious to see how those in the back take this mud. Mark, thank you for your Preakness daily double. I guess it's a Susan, Black-Eyed Susan Preakness daily double. Curious to see if any of you think the 2, Princess Aaliyah, has a shot here. I know I'm taking a bit of a chance, but I like it a little bit more now that the rain has come through. And just kind of a play against the favorite. I do like the 3, but more underneath. The one I left out, I believe it was the 6, Paris Lily.
For the Black-Eyed
That's
Susan Preakness double.
That is the one I'm afraid of, the 6,
Fillies
Paris Lily.
approaching
I know
gate
this one
for the Georgie Mitchell
will be on the
Black-Eyed
lead
Susan
or near the
Stakes.
lead, and I think this one is about the
100
only
first
front
running,
runner that is
$300,000
capable
guaranteed.
of staying late. So
Grade 2.
that's the only one that kind of scares me in my trifecta.
Margie's
But
intention is 5
we'll
to
see.
2.
I probably need to
Just
worry
about at
more
the
about the
starting
2
gate.
winning than the 6 ruining my
Here at
ticket. But
historic Pimlico Racecourse.
good luck.
in
They're going in the
Baltimore.
gates. Good luck, everyone. And thanks again for joining. And we'll see you tomorrow, too, for Preakness Day.
They now reach the starting gate. Liam in the dust, and Princess Aaliyah will settle right off them. Moon Cash up on the outside of Princess Aaliyah. And next is Amarth, who's traveling 7 lengths off the early pace. Margin's intention is next. Margie's intention, some 7 or 8 off the speed into the turn. Reply riding the inside round that turn is Kinsey Queen. And running and gunning is well last. Got to be 22 lengths off the pace. Around the turn, headed to the 3/4 mark. Paris Lily sets the pace in the Georgie Mitchell Black-Eyed Susan Stakes. Taken to the outside, Liam in the dust to press the issue. It's another 2.5. Princess Aaliyah is 3rd. Margie's intention is in 4th. Then Moon Cash Amarth has 6 to close in now. Paris Lily's in front. Paris Lily about 4.5 furlongs left to go. They're going a steady pace. Still leads on the sloppy going. Leads a length and a half from Liam in the dust. On the inside, Margie's intention is in 3rd. Princess Aaliyah right there with a fighting shot. Making a move well 3 wide to the far outside. Amarth swinging into action as well in the black cap. Another 4-back Moon Cash drops to the back of the pack, followed by Reply and Kinsey Queen. And way back is running and gunning. They move to the 5/16 pole. It is Paris Lily leader, widening a 3-length margin from Margie's intention in 2nd, who's all out. Martha's in 3rd. Inside is Liam in the dust, followed by Princess Aaliyah. Out in the center of the track, Kinsey Queen is trying to come for a share too. Kinsey Queen is closed into 3rd and closing steadily now, but time is running out. A furlong left to run. Paris Lily and Margie's intention is digging on the outside to try to get by her. Paris Lily, Margie's intention up to grab the lead in the late stages. Paris Lily's fighting on. Margie's intention to win at a half length to Paris Lily. Kinsey Queen ran late and Reply finished 4th in the Georgie Mitchell Black-Eyed Susan Stakes.
3, 6, 5, 7, it looked like. 3-6-5.
Minute 52.05
7.
on the track. Sloppy.
Okay, well, the 3, Margie's Intention wins. 6, Paris Lily. 5, Kinsey Queen.
Stand by for
And
numbers.
Reply finished 4th.
In race 13, the
6.
Georgie Mitchell Black-Eyed Susan Stakes.
3-6-5-7. And nowhere to be found was the 2. I bet it was a bit of a long shot, but I don't think we're going to hear the comments here. I think that's only for TV, but we'll see here.
No, I just asked him if it was easy. He said, well, she did make me work for it. Flavian, this was your first time to ride her. What kind of instructions did you get? Did it go as planned?
Yeah, no, just Brad and his team told me that she was a bit steady, but they really liked her. They said she was training very well going into the race, and they thought she could show up today, and she did.
From the backside, I really couldn't see the stretch run, but it sounded like you were a bit wide. Was that because you liked the track where it was, or you just ended up there?
No, I was inside. I was behind the leaders. I was actually behind Joel. I thought I was in a good spot. And it looks like Joel was going very easy, turning for home. But my filly was brave enough and digging.
So you've won the Preakness Stakes before with Brown Bar a couple of years ago. You get your first Black-Eyed Susan win today. Does this feel like you've sort of got that nice little, I guess we would call it double crown here at Pimlico?
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, I'm very grateful. I'm riding for a lot of good trainers and good owners, and it's fun.
Yeah, you're riding for a good trainer tomorrow in the Preakness Stakes. Good luck there. Congratulations here. Let's go to Kenny.
Okay, well, there you have it. 3, Margie's Intention with Flavia and Brad aboard for Brad Cox wins the Black-Eyed Susan. The 6, Paris Lily, 2nd. The 5, Kinsey Queen, 3rd. And the 7, Reply, 4th.
3, 6, 5, 7, 8 unofficial. Margie's Intention. Levy and Pratt Chipple teaming up for 2 with trainer Brad Cox on this Black-Eyed Susan program. The Black-Eyed Susan Stakes. Margie's Intention for Windstar Farm LLC and Barron Stable.
Okay, that's it for today. I know it was a long day with the weather delay. Thanks for waiting it out. We will be back here tomorrow for the Preakness, about 15 minutes before the Preakness, the start of the Preakness race. So Nick will be back there, and hopefully you'll be back. I hope you won some money today. Margie's Intention at 5-2 wins. A little bit chalky. We got a 5-2 over a 5-1 over 9-1 over 9-2. Super should pay okay, but nothing to get too excited about. Hopefully we'll have a better payout tomorrow. That's it for Weekend Double. For Nick, I'm Gerald. We will see you tomorrow. Hopefully, take care.